Okay, tell her it's already recording.
Okay, just go ahead and take a seat.
Already recording.
Sit down.
The live stream.
Okay,
Not until she
students, we have
starts.
a
Or she wanted
really
to start.
special surprise this morning.
I gotta see
So
names.
I'm going to tell you what everything is on your
Hold it.
table in just a few minutes. But don't worry about it right now.
All right, I'll give it
I
back
want
to
to
you.
introduce to you someone who I think you're going to find very interesting. So her name is Gillian, and let me get her really quick. Hello. Good morning, everyone.
Apparently I'm
How are you? Good. I hear you've had a busy day so far in astronaut training, right? How's it been?
You just got
You just got off the bus. Just got here? Okay, well then are you guys excited? Yeah. Okay, because I've seen some of those simulators and they're really, really cool. So, my name is Gillian Gloria, and I study aerospace engineering at a university in Orlando called UCF. And if you couldn't tell by my bright blue flight suit, I have big dreams of one day becoming an astronaut. Now, my story is a little different than most because I'm what they call a non-traditional student, which means I didn't go straight to college right after I graduated high school. I had to go to work and save up for school. And in 2016, after a couple years off, I finally had enough money to go to school. So I had the option of going to a couple big universities like the University of Central Florida, University of Florida, Rollins College, or even Embry-Riddle. But I chose to go to a little community college named Valencia. Has anybody heard of that? Yeah. Okay, cool, awesome. So for me, the idea of taking my general education requirements and my prerequisite for engineering classes at half the cost was way more appealing than paying a big university price tag. But while I was at Valencia, at a junior college, right, just starting my academic career, something amazing happened. Doors to incredible opportunities began to open all around me, like my very first internship at the Earthrise Space Foundation. It was a company that was pursuing a contest called the Google Lunar X Prize. And essentially, it was like, who could make it to the moon first, privately funded, and who can have a NASCAR race and win that, essentially, is what it was. That sounds pretty cool, right? It was really cool. And just so you guys know, I was just starting my college career. I was a freshman, and I got to work with a real Lunar Rover. Do you guys want to see a video that I have of it? Okay, cool.
Am I supposed to be here?
Before you go for a drive on the moon, you have to get your wheels dirty here.
Right now we're at the Swampworks testing chamber in Cape Canaveral.
Sacred ground for this group of engineers fighting for the Google X Prize. Only the official NASA tech is allowed in. He has to wear protective gear and a respirator.
This is a great way to test it also. If something does go wrong, what we can do to fix it remotely. Since obviously if it's on the moon, we can't go up there and fix it.
So that was our little rover, and does he look familiar to anybody? Yeah, he looks like Wally, right? That's one of the fun parts about being an engineer, is the engineers at my company designed our rover to look just like Wally, so he would appeal to you guys, right? And it's really fun because as an engineer, you're given creative freedom to do things like that and to bring ideas to life. And during my time here as a freshman, I got an introduction to space policy, robotics, and we were even put on a Discovery Channel documentary, which is what you just saw. But my favorite part about working at this company, let's see, was being able to test our rover here at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in a facility called the Swampworks facility. And they have a big, what is essentially just like a sand pit filled with 30 tons of fake moon dirt. or lunar regolith, as we call it in the space industry. Another opportunity I was given during my time at Valencia was a chance to work at Siemens Energy, which is a global company that basically keeps the lights on. We're a power generation company, and I got to assess risk on their gas turbine technologies, which are basically big old engines. And for me, that was exciting because gas turbines are pretty much just like rockets. So another opportunity that I was given was being able to conduct NASA-funded research on the effects of solar and galactic cosmic radiation on the surface of the Moon, Mars, and near-Earth asteroids. And I actually still do this research to this day, a year and a half later. So, all of these opportunities, again, happened and occurred while I was in a community college. I was only starting my academic career. So my point is don't ever sell yourself short or think that you're not in the right place academically, or you're too young, or you don't know enough to do great big things like send a rover to the moon, because you'll never know unless you try. And there's a lot of paths that you can take to achieve those big dreams that you have deep inside your head. And no matter where you come from, what gender you are, what nationality you are, what income you have, the only thing that's ever going to limit you in life is your drive to get there. So, just like one of my favorite quotes, shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars. And that's so true, because you will only ever go as far in life as you push yourself. Like, for example, sitting in the cockpit of a T-38 supersonic jet, right? And astronauts use this jet for flight readiness training to help them get adjusted to G-forces experienced during a rocket launch. Or, who knows, maybe you could star in your own commercial for a company that is global, right? Like LinkedIn. And at that time, you can promote something and advocate something for what you love. So they asked me to be a part of this commercial to help inspire the next generation to pursue STEM and space. So how could I say no? I've also gotten so many opportunities, like going to Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, to present my research that I started. It was a little under a year at that time. And the trip was all paid for, which is neat, right? I didn't have to pay for anything. So they'll pay you to do these incredible, momentous things if you have the passion and drive to do it. You can also get VIP viewing to rocket launches, or even better, befriending those people who have actually built rockets. Or even some of the astronauts who've flown on them, like the last space shuttle commander, Christopher Ferguson, or Mark Kelly. Does anybody know who Mark Kelly is? He is the twin brother of Scott Kelly, and they did the first twin study ever in existence for astronauts. One went to space and one stayed down here on Earth, and they compared their DNA afterwards, and they still are today. And they're studying the effects of gravity or microgravity on humans from a cellular level. So again, just some really neat opportunities that are only available to me for one reason. And that is because I'm pursuing a STEM-based degree. Does anybody know, by show of hands, what STEM stands for? Right there.
Science, technology, engineering, and math.
Very good, yes. Perfect, so science, technology, engineering, and math. And that was an initiative set out by the the Obama administration a couple years ago to help push science, technology, engineering, and math amongst students in the nation. Because of a few reasons I'll show you in a little bit. But for me, I'm pursuing the E, engineering. And there's a lot of different types of engineering, but what I study is aerospace engineering, which has to do with what? Can anybody tell me? Right there. Space, very good. And there's one more thing. Anybody else know?
You said aerospace, right?
Yes.
I'm thinking that airplanes, I had a feeling you know what it was, but I lost it.
What do you do in the air?
You fly?
You fly, right? What do you fly besides spacecraft?
First.
Planes, very good. So you fly airplanes and spacecraft. So that's what aerospace has to deal with. Let's see. Good job. You guys know a lot. So there's a lot of different types of engineering too. There's not just aerospace. There's mechanical. There's civil. There's industrial. There's computer. And there's also other things that you can do with a STEM degree, right? Because it's not just engineering. Another thing you could do, for example, is build the next iPhone. Oops. Or the next Tesla. You could be a roller coaster designer at Universal. You could be a video game designer and design the next Fortnite or Madden NFL. Does that sound cool to anybody? No? What's one of the cool games out right now? I don't play video games. Minecraft? Modern Warfare? Okay. Alright. Anybody else has a fun video game? NBA? Fortnite, I said that. But I'll give you one too. So they get to do some really cool things, right? And the great thing about STEM, I know you're young and you're not maybe even thinking about a career, what you want to do in life. How many of you know what you want to do? Okay, more than I thought. Well, good for you. Is any of that STEM?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, I got some yeses. That's all I care about. So for the other people, some of the great advantages of pursuing a STEM-based degree. One, it's in high demand, and it will continue to be because technology is the future. And you have the ability to positively impact society. There are certain programs where you can go to other countries, underdeveloped countries, who don't have clean water and build them clean water sources or bridges to cross canals so they can get to school. Things like that. It's also growing, and there's a huge difference between the average salary of a STEM-based degree and a non-STEM-based degree. Now, I know some of you may be thinking to yourself, well, I'm not the best at math or science, or I don't really care about technology or robots. I know, some people think that. I know, it surprises me too. But I was like that. I was really like that, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I was in middle school and high school, I was never the best at math or science. I was always struggling to get a B. I was borderline C in math, all throughout high school and middle school. But I loved space. I grew up here on Florida's Space Coast in Orlando, which means I got to watch the space shuttle launch humans into orbit from my own backyard. And that experience had such a profound effect on me that when I first got to college, my first semester, I was like, I'm gonna do business, I'm gonna play it safe. I don't know how to do math, I love space, but I can't be an engineer. There's no way. And there was a voice in the back of my head, and it kept nagging at me, and it told me that if you don't pursue what you love in life, you're never gonna be happy. So I took the chance, and I started to go to math tutoring, and I started going to science tutoring. And then the next thing you know, I became a math tutor, and I became a physics tutor. And here I am today, only a junior, and look at all these momentous things that I've had the great opportunity to do. And again, that's only because I'm pursuing a STEM-based degree. I get to fly around in zero gravity, which is nuts. Does anybody want to do that? It's really fun. And I'm going to tell you a little secret. You think that it would be like a roller coaster, right, where your stomach just turns? Does everybody know that feeling? Yeah? But it's not. You literally just start to float. And it's one of the most incredible experiences that I've had thus far in life. And I recommend it to everybody. So everybody go be an astronaut. Okay? Just kidding. You can be a pilot and do it. So some of the advice I just want to give you real quick is none of these things, or a great majority of them, would have not happened to me by any means if I didn't share my love for space to anyone and everyone that I've ever talked to. I don't go out and just tell people I want to be an astronaut. I don't like to be presumptuous, but I do share my passion for space because it makes me happy. So if you find what you're passionate about in life and you go for that, heavy-hearted, nonstop, you will accomplish anything and you'll get that dream. You'll make your dreams come true. So another thing that I was always afraid to ask is questions. I didn't want to seem like I didn't know what I was talking about in class, or like I got the wrong answer and everybody would laugh at me. But that's how you learn. And in higher education, you find out that failure is your first attempt in learning. And you're gonna fail a lot in life. And that's okay, because that's how you learn. Be fearless in pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. And kids, read the book. I know that the subjects may be hard, and math is hard. It is hard. I had to get tutors, but you can too. But I promise you, most of what you need to know is in the book. So read the book, okay? Now, I mentioned something about zero gravity, right? Yeah, and I can't just say something like that and not show you any pictures or videos, right? Yeah, does anybody want to see the video? Yeah.
Didn't you go into a plane and it kind of slanted its nose up and went into a free fall?
I did. You're absolutely right. So a little background. What they did for this, we flew on board what we call the G-Force One. And it's a company called the Zero Gravity Company. And they took a modified airplane, took all the seats out, put cushions all around the walls. And what they do is they fly up at a 45-degree angle. And then as soon as they get to the top of the parabola, they go straight down, they go to a 45-degree decline angle, right? So you're essentially making these huge parabolas through 10,000 feet of airspace. And it was one of the funnest things I've ever got to do. So let's see if I can get this video working.
Also, if you were to light a lighter and while in zero gravity, wouldn't it be way longer?
Yeah, do you know what color it would be?
Green.
Blue.
Blue, yeah, close, very good. It's because there's no oxygen to expand the flame higher like there is on Earth, so the flame stays smaller and hotter. So, this is a video that my crewmate, Lee Giat, made about the science behind the zero gravity flight. So this is how it works. Are you guys ready? No, you don't sound that excited. Maybe I should just skip it.
No.
Okay. All right. Let's do it.
Close to your body. That's how those zero gravity work. It's when airplanes fly in a series of parabolas, giving the people inside about 30 seconds of zero gravity at a time. The pilots aren't flying to space or changing gravity in any way. They're just accelerating towards the ground at the same rate as gravity. Here we go.
That's me. And look, if you can look really closely. Oops. Yeah, look how the water behaves. Do you see those little spheres of water?
Yeah, it's because of the surface tension. It has nothing to grab onto you and let it.
Somebody give this guy a job. You're hired, okay? Exactly. So as you can tell, I was really excited, and I think that you would be too. And again, this is another opportunity that I got, and it is valued at $5,400, but I got it for free. All I did was submit a video as to why I should win, and I won. So social media is a great way to stay connected to any industry that you're looking to pursue, or people that you want to follow your career after, or even like professional sports athletes, right? You would follow them on social media and see what they're up to. You can do the same thing for your careers or companies that you would want to work for, like NASA or Boeing or anybody else who's not space related. I don't know any of those companies. Just kidding. So what I didn't talk about so far, and this will be one of the last things, is the reason why I chose engineering. I think that it provides such a versatile skill set, which means that I can do a little bit of everything. I can code, I can machine, I can communicate, I can write technical reports, right? So I don't need an English degree because I can learn how to do that in engineering. And I always just thought that was an amazing thing because I can get a job doing a lot of different things, not just stuck on one career choice. And one of the coolest things for me is the fact that you can take an idea, like something so simple, like I want to design a component that can reflect a laser beam so I can see what kind of sample I have in my research group, right? So I started with this beautiful drawing on paint. Do you guys like it, the first one? It's very clever, right? Very elementary, right? But as you go through the design process and you go through time and you expand on that idea, it becomes into something actual that you can, one, actually design into a 3D modeling system, and then you can build and you can use it. And that to me is really beautiful. So, my future plans, finishing up my degree here in the next year and a half. Then there is a scientist astronaut training program at Embry-Riddle, which is a university in Daytona. They basically train you how to be a commercial astronaut. So when companies like Blue Origin start flying you guys to space for $100,000, they're going to need astronauts to go up there just like flight instructors and make sure that you don't hurt yourself. That's one of the things. I'd like to start beginning my mountaineering hobby and one day summit Everest, hopefully in my mid-30s, just to give me exposure to extreme environments, because in space, does anybody know what extreme environment is? Let me try to get someone else, okay?
It's very cool.
Very cold, yes. Anybody else?
Hard to survive in.
Hard to survive in, exactly.
Not what you're used to.
Yes. Very good. You guys all gave really good answers. So it's somewhere that you can't survive with like an external life system. So like scuba diving or in space, right? You can't survive without an oxygen tank, or in space they have specific spacesuits that provide life support, things like that. And if you put yourself in places like under the sea or on top of a mountain, then you get used to kind of surviving on your own. And so we're gonna have lunch here in a few minutes, okay? So don't worry, I know you guys may be hungry. Eventually I wanna get my PhD in physics. Start with a specialization in planetary science because I really like to see just like how the dirt on other planetary bodies like reacts and what it's made of. And does anybody remember what I called that term? Like moon dirt. Anybody remember?
Lunar something.
Lunar.
Lunar.
It starts with an R. Lunar regolith. And so regolith is the term we use. Who answered over here? I heard a couple voices. You said something right? You said lunar. Who else said lunar? Okay. Don't forget it, okay? I'm almost done. So, yes. And then go into the Air Force, hopefully become a pilot, and become an astronaut one day. And that's my serious long-term plan. So, I just want to leave you with this thought before I open the floor for questions, if you guys have any. Again, all of these opportunities, friendships, and jobs that I've had were because I had the courage to pursue my dream of becoming an astronaut. And remember, if you dare to dream as big as the moon, that means you can fail and still end up in some pretty cool places, like in zero gravity or starring in your own commercial. So just remember that the possibilities are endless when you have the courage to chase your dreams, however crazy they may sound to others. So thank you.